Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom, and today we're going to talk about 90 Day Fiancé Season 5 Episode 16 Fuller House. Now, like with any other video, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Join the family, hit that like button, leave me your comments so I know what you thought about these couples and this episode. And tell a friend to tell a friend that Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom does the 90-day franchise over here, the Before the 90 Days, the 90 Days the Other Way, the Love in Paradise, or you know what I'm talking about, Lost in Paradise, 90-day franchise, 90 Day The Last Resort, the Tell-Alls, soon to be the Family Chantel, and Married at First Sight. All right, so let's get started. On today's episode, we're going to have Brandon and Mary, Kim and TJ, Kenny and Armando, and Shakina and Sarper. So let's just go ahead and get Kenny and Armando out the way, because you know what? They didn't really have too much to give on this episode. And to be honest, they didn't have too much to give on this series either, because I don't think they have a lot of drama going on. It's not, what they're going through isn't like The Other Way or Before the 90 Days. They had their season a few years ago. They've been on Pillow Talk. They seem like things are going smooth sailing. So I think what they're presenting to us, the viewer, in the 90 Day franchise is what's going on now. And that is that they are now considering bringing another baby into the household. So Kenny and Armando are on their way to visit a surrogacy clinic to choose or look through, or however the process works, to find out who they want to have match with them to bring a baby into the world. So when they get to the center, I think Armando is nervous more than Kenny, because listen, Kenny been there, done that. He's a father of quadruplets or triplets. He's got grandchildren, so he's ready. But at the same time, I think, and he's explained as well, his age is a factor of him kind of like holding off as to why he doesn't want to have a baby. But he said anything for Armando to make him happy. But Armando is a little bit more nervous about things, I think. And even though Armando has an 11-year-old, I don't know. I just think that maybe, I think Kenny and Armando are on the same page now when it comes to this, but there's still just a little something, in my opinion, that's in the air that's not quite settled when it comes to this process. But when they go in, they're sitting down talking to the nurse. The nurse explains that you're going to choose 5 women as potential surrogates to pick for who might be the potential baby mama to the baby, right? But then she also said that not just are you going to pick 5, the medical staff will then, out the 5, choose the best one for you. And I'm thinking, why would the medical staff choose the best one for you when you chose, when you're looking through to see who you want it to be with? Maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it's because I'm sure it's going to be based on medical history, lab work, things like that. So who's the most compatible between Kenny, Armando, and the soon-to-be donor? But still, like, we're going to pick the best one for you. Wouldn't it be like, you choose your 5, this is the one medically and everything, the background, all that you're looking for, and then you make the choice, not the other way around, because we're paying you? I don't know. You let me know in the comments, because I just found that very different. Let's say it like that. So as Kenny and Armando are going through the pictures, I think Kenny is a little bit more picky. He's like, no, next. Now, Armando said, you know what? I don't want to be as, basing it off of as much looks and as intense as Kenny is, but I don't want to make it seem like we're just going off of just that. And on top of that, that meaning just the pictures, but Armando says it gives him anxiety just to be like, next. Now, Kenny said that he realizes and recognizes that him and Armando seem to like the same type of woman, the same type of aesthetic. So he has no problem with saying next, because he feels like Armando would say the same thing. Now, the nurse also noticed that Kenny and Armando, with the choices that they're making, also tend to lean towards the same type of woman. So, yeah. And then Kenny said, "Well, if we ever, took it to the tango, made it a threesome, then I know what we would like in the bedroom." I'm like, Kenny, TMI, TMI. All right. So, excuse me. Let's start with Kim and TJ. Let's go up to them. So it's finally Kimberly and TJ have officially tied the knot, leading to an all-nighter of the wedding. TJ said that based off of their astrological signs, that they got married between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. for the best chance for them to succeed. And okay, I would have thought that would have been Kim telling us these things, since she's the one that's into the tarot cards, and she found TJ in a dream, and she's just all into that type of thing, the tarot and all that comes with that. Yeah, so finally, after 2 days, it's done. It's over. Kim is happy for the most part. She says after 6 wedding dresses and 2 days, she's finally marrying the man of her dreams. She also explained that if this was an American traditional wedding, that not only would she have her dad walk her down the aisle, because in Indian culture is the entire family walking down the aisle, that she would not just only be married, have her dad walk her down the aisle, but you know what? The wedding would have been over and she would already had a time last night, meaning she would already been on her honeymoon. So I guess she was trying to tell us and hint at TJ, like, all this extra, yeah, we could already been on what? Our honeymoon. So Kimberly and TJ, I'm happy that they're married finally. I think the wedding, because I'm not used to the Indian type culture myself, I've seen some of it on TV. I thought the ceremonies and the dresses and all the activities was very nice. And it's good to know about different cultures when you're able to see them. And I'm not sure as well if Kimberly is appreciative to the cultures and the traditions of the actual wedding ceremony. I mean, it always seemed to me like she had something to say that wasn't necessarily a positive. But then again, that goes to me where it's part of Kimberly's personality and her energy that gives off. But Kimberly, see, I already mixed her names, Timberly. But Kimberly will soon be up for a rude awakening when she learns all that's what's required of a traditional Indian wife. But also, to jump into the ceremony, TJ had me laughing at a certain point. He said, yeah, your family's supposed to get up there and dance and supposed to show out and do their best moves. He said, but none of his family can keep the beat. He says, like, where's the beat? Where's the hops? He said, I was so embarrassed. I'm like, TJ, everybody can't be you. Everybody can't hold the beat. You know what I'm saying? But they were doing their best. They were celebrating you in the way that they knew how. So Kimberly and TJ finally married. So congratulations out to the couple. All right. So let's move to Shakina and Sarper. So Sarper and Shekina are going to meet with Shekina's sister Sharia for dinner, because the dinner at the house when she first came from last week's episode didn't go well. Because listen, Sarper, oh yes, English is not his first language, but you should be able to tell when your comments are off-putting or your comments are rude and your comments just isn't what it's supposed to be. Because last week he called Shekina a slur, and he called her a bee. And I was like, what? Even Shekina and her sister more, Sharia, was like, excuse me? Shekina said that no one in my life has ever called me a slur or a bee. You're the first. And Sarper was like, oh, really? Really? Wow. So that's when Shekina's sister Sharia decided that she was not going to eat the food, period. She wasn't going to stay in the apartment, period, to get any conversation about nothing. She heard all she needed to hear, and she went back to the hotel. So today they all decide to meet up for dinner, where Sarper has decided that he wanted to apologize for not putting his best foot forward and wanted to get a second chance from Sharia, because he doesn't want Shekina's sister to not like him, and on top of that, not just like him, but send a bad message back to the family. So once they get to the dinner, Sarper apologizes. He said he admitted that he was being a jerk. He used a different descriptive word that starts with an A. Okay. He said, I know I have to change. I know it for the sake of our happiness and the sake of me, he told Shariah. Shariah also apologized to Sarper, saying that I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable while meeting you in your own home, but it's just that she said, I really want to feel like you're somebody who's going to show my sister how much you love her and care about her. And I know it's important for you to feel respected, but it's equally important for her to have respect as well. Now, I don't know anybody or brother, sister, family member, friend, no one that would even be cool with hearing you call your significant other, someone that I love and care for, a slur and a B, like it's normal language. I mean, maybe it was normal language for Sarper, for all the 2,500 women he vetted. Maybe some of them, did live an alternative lifestyle or whatever, but still, like, that's not cool. And I don't care what language you speak, you ought to know better than that. But I digress. So then after Shariah said that to Sarper promised to do better. And he said he feels like the night is going well and he wants to make everyone comfortable. Now, Shekina was like, oh, babe, aren't you glad you did it? I'm so proud of you. And also in confessional, Shekina said that it's the language barrier, and she knows that Sarper really didn't mean what he said. So she's going to let that first night go and move forward from there. I'm like, girl, no. You've had red flags blown in the wind before you came over to Turkey with Sarper wanting you to look a certain way, weigh a certain way. Matter of fact, Sarper weighed you when you came over. So again, and I promise I'm going to get a t-shirt made. Red flags don't change the green. So Shekina is really trying her best to look past all these things that's like not cool and not the way a relationship is supposed to be. So anyways, Sarper took a step last evening and he started to take some pictures. And I guess the plan was to go Instagram official. But I don't know if they really went Instagram official for real. I just think that maybe when Shekina is taking a picture with Sarper, that she feels like, okay, so he's taking a picture with me versus picture with women. But I mean, other, women in the past and may post it. But the thing is, Sarper already told you he doesn't want any pictures on social media with you for any reasons. And no, you can't see his DM. No, you can't even see his Instagram, but he can see your DMs and your Instagram and tell you what it is that you can do. So yeah, I don't know. I'm with Shekina's sister on this. I was with Shekina's sister before we knew who Shekina's sister was. Okay. Because like I said, all those red flags just isn't it. Now, also in confessional as well, as the dinner kind of went okay, there was still tension that you can feel, stuff like that. But Shariah said in confessional that she didn't give Sarper 100% approval. She said, honestly, after last night, the way that Sarper behaved, I'm not going to delete the memories out of my mind. She said, what happened was real and it was very concerning to me. It just seems like he's very immature and has a lot of growth that needs to be done. He's very immature, but also it comes across very machismo. And I hate to say this, it gives womanizer. It just does. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments, please. Now, Sarper did admit earlier that there were some issues going on, and he said he's going to be so serious going forward. So again, this is going to have to play out before our eyes because too many red flags. Okay, now finally, let's move to Brandon and Mary. So Mary and Brandon are 2 weeks from their wedding. Now that came fast, didn't it? That came fast because last week we were seeing them trying to make money for their store and meeting with Lolo. And yes, Brandon asked for a blessing and getting married, but they're getting married already. But I guess before the baby comes, they need Brandon and Mary to make things right so the baby could be married to mom and dad. That's husband and wife. That's how they see things. So Mary also said that she's 5 months pregnant. Now that time moved fast. Like what happened in between like Mary finding out she was pregnant and grandma and Lolo, which is grandfather, to come back from Manila for Mary to now be 5 months pregnant? Woo! And Mary is still just as tiny as she wants to be. You can't even tell that she's pregnant. So maybe as she gets a little further along, that's when the baby will pop out more, as they say, and we can see her pregnancy. So Mary and Brandon are out at a store because they're looking for wedding attire. Mary's looking for a white dress, and traditional in the Philippines, Mary says that Brandon has to wear a dark suit. Now, money is tight because again, they're not making money from that store, and Brandon sent all his paycheck when he's in the States to get that house built, but now there's no cash. He didn't save enough to spend while he was there with his savings, so they got to make do what they have to do. Now, the dress and the suit comes out to $118. No, not $118, excuse me, like $180 something in American money. And Mary says that's fine. They can afford it for now because it's a traditional wedding. That's what she wants. And it's a marriage of a lifetime. You only do it once, at least for Mary. Okay. And then Brandon is saying to Mary, so how are we going to get some more money generated? You know, because money is tight. Mary says, well, that's why we're reselling cell phones. She said that she gets a profit of $18 per unit. And even though it's not much, it's enough for her. So anyways, Mary is explaining still how Brandon isn't helping out with chores. She's still doing everything, but Brandon is pulling back on the fighting. They're not fighting as much anymore. So she's now willing to get married to Brandon because she said last week, if Brandon, even Lolo said that if Brandon didn't, chill out with that, maybe it'd be time for him to hightail it back to the States because she don't want to have her family embarrassed anymore because the neighbors could clearly hear the fights and that she's already having baby out of wedlock. Like they don't need all this extra from Brandon not pulling his weight and doing what he needs to do. So I guess they're back on the same page for now. All right, so later in the evening, we learned that Brandon's mother is also coming to the Philippines. Matter of fact, she's coming tomorrow. Okay, which is fast. Like I said, we found out about that 5 months already. They're getting married already, and Brandon's mom is on the way. So in the evening time, Mary, Brandon, Mary's brother, and some friends are out catching frogs. They're going to make some frog adobo for a meal for the wedding ceremonies, maybe pre-festivities, and for Brandon's mom. That's a welcome meal. And so while they're out catching frogs, Brandon says, so I think, is it Brandon or Mary? No, Mary asked Brandon, would it be a good idea to feed frog to his mom? Brandon says, yeah, do my mom like you did me. Okay, because when I first came, I had adobo and it was made of frog, but Mary tricked him and said it was like baby chicken in there. And Brandon asked for seconds. And then after he finished eating, he learned it was frog. He said, so why don't we do the same prank for my mom to try to like break the ice? I'm like, you know what? That's different. See, because Mary and you, I guess that's different. She wanted you to try the traditional meal, but tell somebody what it is that they're eating to give them an option. That's just me. That's just me. Mom might try it anyways to be nice, but still, So Brandon and Mary are also concerned, mainly Mary, about Brandon's mom. She says Brandon's mom doesn't like her. She didn't like her before, when Brandon was in the States before she came. But Mary, you know why Brandon's mom didn't like you. Y'all were on the phone 24/7. You watch each other sleep. You watch each other go to the bathroom. You couldn't make a move without each other. Like who wants to see their child just seem like they're being manipulated and groomed for the other person for their benefit? Like nobody would like that. But she's too young, so is Brandon too, to even recognize that's what it is and the reasons why. Maybe when she becomes a mom, she'll see what it is about what it is to be a mom and to protect your child at all costs. That's all I'm saying with that. All right, so Brandon's telling Mary, like, don't be concerned. My mom will probably like you. There's a baby coming. We're getting married. my mom is cool. It'll be all right. She'll get a chance to get to know you, and everything will work its way out from there. But Brandon admitted that in confessional that his mom and him barely talk. He said that their relationship isn't close and they talk maybe once a month. But when he comes to the Philippines, but when Brandon's mom, comes to the Philippines, he wants to reconnect with her and get back on the same page and have her and Mary also be on the same page as well. I don't know about all that, because Brandon's mom seemed like she was stickler from the beginning. And then Mary says in confessional that if Brandon's mom causes a problem for the wedding or anything like that, that pretty much Brandon could go back home with his mama, because if he don't stick up for her as husband should do, then she don't want to be bothered. She don't want to be married to him. Now, the next day when we see Brandon and Mary, they're on their way to pick up Brandon's mother from, I guess, the drop-off spot. Now, before they get there, we see a preview of Brandon's mom coming through the village, and it's something that she wasn't not, I would say, looking forward to, but it wasn't something she expected. That's the word. She wasn't expecting to see, in her words, the poverty of the village that Brandon and Mary lived in. And she said, I hope that Brandon's home, because she saw pictures of it being built, is a little bit more a home, more cozy, and not with the houses and that she's seen coming in. She's very concerned about that. And I think anybody would be. And also, I mean, whether they're considered this or not, but I think that they are. The Philippines is considered, right, a third world country, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, not all parts are bad of any country or even the States, but where Brandon and Mary lives, it does look like they suffer from the being in poverty, poverty-stricken village where they are. And that's why Mary is saying how her grandparents are having a hard time building up what they need to. And that's why Mary doesn't want to ask them for help, because she knows how hard it is, because they took in Mary and her brother after her parents abandoned them. So I can see where Mary is coming from when it comes to the money issue. Well, when Brandon and Mary finally make it to Mama Brandon, it's hugs for Mama Brandon and Brandon. And the look that Mary gave Brandon's mom, and then for Mary to say, oh, she's looking at me like a mean girl. I'm like, mean girl, your whole face, your whole energy is already like, this lady, this bee. I mean, everything that Mary feels like his mom would say to her was all written all over her face from the very beginning. And so Brenda was like, oh, hey, say hi to my mom. You guys hug, talk, whatever. And Brenda's mom's like, oh, hello. And there is energy there. But again, the look of disgust from Mary, why would you think that there was some type of energy that you can relate to off top? And since I'm a mom myself, I didn't appreciate that either. Now, in confessional, Brenda's mom said the look that she gave Mary is a look that you give to someone when you're just pretending to be nice. She says Mary has been manipulative. She has isolated my son from me and the rest of his family. And behind closed doors, Mary's going to make his life a living hell. And now they're going to be raising a child. I don't trust her. So I don't blame her. I really don't. Because just from what you know about the relationship and how it led up to this, it doesn't seem like it's the best, but it doesn't mean it can't work out in the end. So, because babies sometimes have a way of bringing people together. All right, everyone, that was in the episode. Next week, we're going to see Kim and TJ. So they're married and getting adjusted in the apartment and with the family. And TJ said that Kim wasn't allowed in the kitchen before. Now she's allowed in the kitchen, and she's going to find out about her responsibilities in the Indian culture. And he don't think that she's going to be ready for it. And she has no clue. And I'm saying to TJ through the TV, TJ, that is so not cool of you advising Kimberly was expected in a traditional American household. And as a wife, what she's supposed to be doing. So Kimberly is very feisty. So she might push back on that quite a bit. So we'll have to see how that progresses as the show continues. Also, We have Shekina saying that Sarper promised her that he would post those pictures on social media and he hasn't, so she's upset. I mean, Shekina, really? And then we have Holly and Wayne. Holly's mom is back in the United States. She's talking to her mother from on FaceTime, and she's saying she's having a hard time adapting to South American lifestyle. And Holly's mom said, I had a hard time when I was there. So open your eyes, and pretty much telling Holly, if you need to come home, girl, come on home. And then we also have Brandon's mom. She's finally made it to the house with Brandon and Mary. And while she's unpacking, yeah, she's greeted by the same friend that greeted Brandon when he first got there to unpack. That big old tarantula that was on the wall, because clearly that tarantula lives up there in the corners. So, whew, I don't know how she's going to deal with that and the other things that she's not used to while she's there for the ceremony. So, all right, everyone. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, comment, and share. And until next time, everyone, live simply, be grateful.